Hello and welcome. This guide is brought to you by the team at My Tax Accountant. Today, we're going to demystify something you might have seen on your payslip that made you go, huh. We're talking about the BR tax code. If you've spotted those two little letters and wondered what on earth they mean for your money, you are in exactly the right place.
You know that feeling, right? You get your payslip, you're scanning through the numbers, and then you see it. Tax code BR. And for a second, your heart sinks a little. Is this good? Is this bad? Am I paying the right amount? Don't worry, we're going to tackle that feeling head on. You are definitely not the only one asking, and by the end of this, it's all going to make perfect sense.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what tax code BR actually is. Then we'll get into why you might have it in the first place. We'll look at the real impact on your wallet, figure out how to check if yours is correct, and, most importantly, what to do to fix it if it's wrong. Okay, let's dive in.
Right, first things first. Let's decode what BR actually stands for and what it's telling the taxman about your earnings. The good news is, it's actually way less complicated than it sounds.
So, what does BR mean? It simply stands for Basic Rate. This code is a direct instruction from HMRC to your employer. It tells them to tax every penny you earn from that job or that pension at a flat rate of 20%. Now here's the absolute key, the most important bit to remember. With a BR code, you get no tax-free personal allowance on that income. None.
And this is where you really see the difference it makes. With a standard 1257L code for the 2025/26 tax year, you get to earn £12,570 completely tax-free. Think of it as a head start. But with a BR code, there is no head start. Zero. That tax-free allowance is gone for that income source, which means you're paying 20% tax on every single pound right from the get-go. And that is why it can take such a big chunk out of your take-home pay.
Now, if you're thinking this is some obscure code that only affects a few people, think again. Get this, 1.3 million taxpayers in the UK were on a BR code last year. To put that in perspective, if all those people lived in one place, it would be a city bigger than Birmingham. So if you got this on your payslip, trust me, you were in a very, very big club.
So, that leads to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Why me? Why do I have this code? Well, HMRC doesn't just pick them out of a hat. There are some very common reasons, and figuring out which one applies to you is the first step to getting it sorted.
All right, let's look at the usual suspects. As you can see, the number one reason, the biggest slice of the pie, is having a second job. And it makes sense, right? Your tax-free allowance is already being used up on your main job, so HMRC just taxes the second one at the basic rate. The same logic applies if you're drawing a pension while still working. And another really common one is starting a new job, especially if you didn't have your P45 handy. HMRC puts you on an emergency BR code just to be safe.
Let's make this real. Meet Priya. For her, the BR code was actually correct at first. It was on her tutoring income while her main teaching job used her tax-free allowance. Perfect. But then her main job ended. Suddenly, her tutoring gig was her only income. That BR code should have been changed immediately, but it wasn't, so she ended up overpaying tax every single month. Her story is the perfect example of why you have to tell HMRC when your situation changes.
And this brings us to a pro tip that you absolutely have to take on board. It's so easy to assume the taxman knows everything and always gets it right. But the system isn't perfect. And at the end of the day, the legal responsibility to make sure your tax code is correct, well, it falls on you. So what happens when you find out it's wrong?
Okay, we've covered the what and the why. Now for the part you've probably been waiting for. How does this actually affect the money landing in your bank account? Let's get practical and crunch some numbers.
Let's take a look at Liam's situation. His main job as a barista is on a standard 1257L code, so that's all fine. But let's focus on that weekend job. He earns £667 a month, and because of the BR code, a full 20% of that, that's £133.40, is taken in tax straight away. There's no buffer, no allowance, just gone. That's the BR code in action, and it really shows the bite it can take.
Now, here's where it gets a bit tricky. An incorrect BR code is like a double-edged sword. On one hand, if it's wrong, you could be overpaying tax, just like Priya was. The average refund for that kind of mistake was about £600 last year. But on the other hand, and this is the one you need to watch out for, you could be underpaying and building up a nasty surprise tax bill. The average bill? A painful £1,200.
And for all you high earners out there, please listen up, because this is a classic trap. The BR code is stuck at 20%.
It has no idea that your combined income has pushed you over the higher rate tax threshold of £50,270. It just keeps ticking along, taking 20% when you should be paying 40% on some of that income. Last year, this caught out 195,000 people who ended up with a very unwelcome bill from HMRC.
Okay, so I can almost hear you thinking, right, how on earth do I know if my code is correct? Don't worry, let's run through a really quick and easy health check. Think of these as warning signs, little red flags to look out for. The biggest one of all is the BR code on your only job. If the answer is yes, you need to investigate that, like yesterday. Other big signs are if your pay is suddenly way lower than you thought it would be, if you've just changed jobs, or if your circumstances have changed. Any of these should be a trigger to double check.
So what's the fastest way to check? Forget waiting on hold for an hour. The answer is your personal tax account on the gov.uk website. Seriously, it's a game changer. You can log in and see your tax code in real time. It's fast, it's free, and over half of all taxpayers are already using it. It's the modern way to stay on top of your tax.
Okay, so what if you've checked and you found a problem? First of all, do not panic. Getting it sorted is probably much easier than you think. Let's walk through the exact steps you need to take to get back in control.
It really is a straightforward process. Before you do anything, just get your ducks in a row. Find your national insurance number and any recent payslips. Then, just get in touch with HMRC, either online or by phone. Clearly explain your situation and why you think the code is wrong. They'll look into it, issue a new code to your employer, and, this is the best part, if you've overpaid, they'll sort out the refund.
And we are not talking about pocket change here. Have a look at this number, £1.2 billion. That is the staggering amount of money that HMRC had to refund to people on the wrong BR code just last year. That is real money that was sitting with the taxman when it should have been in people's pockets. It really makes you wonder, is some of that yours?
Okay, so we have covered a lot. You are now armed with all the knowledge you need to check and challenge your own tax code. But let's be honest, life gets busy, and sometimes you just want an expert to give you that peace of mind.
At the end of the day, understanding your tax code is all about one simple thing: making sure you pay the right amount of tax and not a single penny more than you have to. We really hope this guide has left you feeling empowered to just that.
But if you're thinking, you know what, I'd rather just have an expert handle all of this for me, then professional help is always on hand. For that total peace of mind, the team here at My Tax Accountant is ready to help. They can look at your specific situation, make sure your codes are spot on, and even handle all the back and forth with HMRC for you. If that sounds good, all their details are right there. We really hope you found this useful, and if you did, do us one quick favor and hit that subscribe button for the My Tax Accountant YouTube channel. That way, you won't miss out on any more clear, jargon-free guides that could save you time, money, and a lot of stress. Thanks so much for watching.